Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest 10 things you didn't know about video. Once again, I'm putting in another new video here within this popular playlist, this time focusing on a world famous cryptid, an all-star if you will. Definitely famous here in the United States, and I believe so across the world as well. This is a creature that I talked about years back, one of my earliest cryptid videos back in 2013 to be specific, and then I did one more video on it, more along the lines of a news video, and then that was it. So I thought, what a great way to showcase it here within my channel, feature a new video on it, cover some new items as well, and then definitely be a treat for all you cryptid fans out there. But you're looking at a picture of it now. Obviously it needs no introduction. Its outline, its famous visage is definitely something that's instantly recognizable. It is the Jersey Devil. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the top 10 things you didn't know about the Jersey Devil. I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on it. As always, these items are completely random in no particular order. So without further ado, let's go ahead with the first one. So number one, the Jersey Devil is actually native to the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. So those of you in New Jersey, you're near that area called Pine Barrens, you're in for a treat. Apparently you're there in the wilderness, in the wildlife linked to this cryptid. Now this area is located there in New Jersey and is the largest Atlantic coastal pine barren, i.e. forest ecoregion that there is, I think, here in the United States, if not the world. In fact, it is so big it actually stretches over 7 counties there in New Jersey. Very, very huge place. In fact, if you wanted to get an idea, it is 1.1 million acres big. So imagine something like that. You're looking at like a representation, a picture of that spot right now. Think about this creature being perfectly camouflaged. It's able to just blend into all these hundreds of thousands of acres, again, totaling 1.1 million, and no one would ever really see it. It is absolutely a great way for it to be undisturbed, which is ironic considering the fact that it has nearby populations of both Philadelphia and New York City. So it's out there pretty much in the open right there for people to see if they can find the New Jersey Devil, which is again there in the Pine Barrens. Number two is this. It has to do with the sightings, specifically the origin. Now the sightings originally started in the 17th century and they stretch pretty much all the way up until today. The origin ties into the first known sighting. In fact, there are several origins that I found online. They're in of itself kind of similar to each other, not necessarily 100%, but not too different. So the origin I'm going to showcase here is one of the most well-known ones, in fact, probably the de facto one. But according to myth, the original story about the creation of this Jersey Devil all comes from a woman by the name of Mother Leeds. In other versions of the story, her name is actually Deborah Leeds. So again, you have to go with which version that you're going to tie in the story with. Either way, though, Mother Leeds was suspected of being a witch, and in other versions, she was also a mistress to an unknown British soldier. And yet again, in other versions, this unknown British soldier was actually known. It was her husband, a guy by the name of Japhet Leeds. And either way, something bad befell them. Like, it seems like this woman, not only was she suspected of being a mistress and also a witch, but by that point, she was also old and destitute. So her entire life, she basically had either bad luck or some kind of destiny leading to this point. But when she was going to have her 13th child, unlucky number 13, right? That's when she was having the baby right then and there in her house, which I believe is a picture of it here. If it's still standing there, this is the actual house associated with the Jersey Devil. Well, she was giving birth to this unlucky 13th child, and she was so mad about the situation, her entire life just being one big misfortune from one to another, that as she was giving birth, she cursed it. In fact, the story goes that she was yelling out loud for everyone to hear, and who knows who else could hear. She said, "Let it be the devil's child." That was her exclamation right then and there. And so reports vary, once again, based on versions, but it is said that when the baby was born, it was born as a regular baby at first, But then, again, depending on versions, it either A, started to immediately transform into a kangaroo-like monster, one with either the head of a horse or a goat, bat-like wings, and then also a forked tail, or B, this took several hours for this actual transformation to occur. Either way, though, both transformations happened, and it ended up leading to the classic look of the Jersey Devil that we all know of today. And when that happened, the Jersey Devil decided to fly away right then and there, crashed out of a window in one version, and another one, it went up a chimney, and then it was never ever seen again, at least with regards to Mother Leeds, and if the father was there, Japhet Leeds. He was never seen by them, but at least the legend of the Jersey Devil basically came about. That's essentially the most common, well-known origin. Number 3 is this. I mentioned the origin and how it ties back maybe to the 17th century. Well, how about this? Apparently, its history may even be older than that. That's because the aforementioned place of Pine Barrens, New Jersey, apparently has been haunted or has had some kind of curse linked to it for a very, very long time. In fact, so long that it stretches back into Native American land or Native American times. In fact, there was a Native American tribe there called the Lenape tribe. They were pretty fearful of that place. In fact, they gave it a name. They called it I hope I'm saying this correctly, the Popoessing, which translates to the place of the dragon. So they basically made this place almost, if you can, a sacred place, a place that necessarily wouldn't be one that you could visit it or want to stay there too long, that actually stretched over to other people, in this case Swedish explorers, who also had a fear of this place. They in turn instantly called it the Drake Kill, which translates to channel of the dragon. So how about that? 2 different sets of civilizations, 2 different sets of peoples, both of them having the same kind of ill-gotten feeling associated with that location, and both of them calling it or tying it to a dragon. They both knew that there was something wrong, pretty sinister with this place, and ultimately, after all those years passed, it could have led to the birth of the Jersey Devil. A little side note on my end, reading all that information, it kind of reminded me of Silent Hill. You know how if you read the comic books linked to Silent Hill, and of course the games as well, how they showcase how that land has apparently had some history on it long before the city was even there, and it was also tied to Native Americans, that there was some kind of curse linked to that land too. So interesting to read that here on the Jersey Devil side. Number 4 is this. Apparently, the Jersey Devil not only has a long history, but it has ties to a famous historical figure. This happens to be with Joseph Bonaparte. If that last name sounds familiar, it's because Joseph Bonaparte is actually the older brother or the oldest brother of Napoleon Bonaparte. You've heard of him before, right? Well, apparently Joseph Bonaparte claims to have seen the Jersey Devil while he was hunting there in his own Borden town and state. In fact, I'm going to read his quote exactly as it shows in a book. That way you'll get the full context, but here's what it says. One snowy afternoon, Joseph Bonaparte was hunting alone in the woods near his house when he spotted some strange tracks on the ground. They looked like the tracks of a 2-footed donkey. Bonaparte noticed that one foot was slightly larger than the other. The tracks ended abruptly, as if the creature had flown away. He stared at the tracks for a long moment, trying to figure out what that strange animal might be. At that moment, Bonaparte heard a strange hissing noise. Turning, he found himself face to face with a large winged creature with a horse-like head and bird-like legs. Astonished and frightened, he froze and stared at the beast, forgetting that he was carrying a rifle. For a moment, neither of them moved, but then the creature hissed at him, beat its wings, and then flew away. So that is the actual encounter associated with the famous historical figure Joseph Bonaparte. So how about that? Number 5 is this. The Jersey Devil may actually have had early contact with other settlers around that area known as the Pineys. If you wanted more information as who the Pineys were and what kind of link they had to the Jersey Devil, they were European settlers who went around that area in Pine Barrens pretty much out of no choice. Remember how I mentioned earlier how that area was known to have bad juju, like almost like an unsettling feeling to it. Most people that could stay away could, but these early European settlers, these Pineys, had no choice. This is because they were made of poor, outcasts, and the less reputable folk. In fact, in their area too, they were trying to stay away from it because they knew that it was bad for farming. But again, they had no choice. So there's even a theory that leads to these Pineys that they in turn inadvertently created a legend of a Jersey Devil because the rest of the people, the others who basically were able to afford living away from that location, almost caused that Jersey Devil and the Pineys to have a theme born out of discrimination. Since they were considered outcasts by these wealthier locals, they wanted to stay away from them. They in turn created the legend of the Jersey Devil to make sure that others of their wealthier kind could stay away from these quote-unquote Pineys. So isn't that interesting? There's almost like an economic factor linked to the legend of the Jersey Devil, almost in the form of a discrimination. Basically, a bunch of rich people that wanted to stay away from the poor people, and the poor people had no choice but to be on that land. And so the legend of the Jersey Devil was born to make sure that they could never commingle with one another. Fascinating stuff. Number 6 is this. The Jersey Devil actually remains one of the few cryptids that has become a pop culture phenomenon. So it is one of the few cryptids that has transcended several forms of medium. In fact, the most famous example are the New Jersey Devils, the NHL hockey team. In fact, they've had that name ever since 1982. Previously, they went through other different names, but in 1982 they settled on the name of the Jersey Devil, actually through a poll. Apparently in that area they wanted to give the audience, the people, the chance to name their team once they were going to have that permanent name afterwards, and it won the poll. People wanted the Jersey Devils to be the actual name. And then also on top of that, the Jersey Devil has been featured in many movies, TV shows such as The X-Files. Another TV show is called Mysteries at the Museum. It has also popped into trading cards. There's some cryptid cards that are out there that showcase the Jersey Devil. T-shirts, of course, are also featured, featuring this famous cryptid. There's a bunch of toys out there as well. Not to mention the fact that if you go by that area, you're going to have lots of local businesses and shops that tend to cater little trinkets here and there to the tourists that are tied to the legend of the Jersey Devil. So definitely a big moneymaker when it comes to the Jersey Devil and the world of cryptids. Number 7 is this. It all ties into a recent 2023 poll that was done by a university called the Fairleigh Dickinson. And their poll was tying into the residents there, stating how real was the Jersey Devil. Now, here are the results. It said that 16% of New Jersey residents thought that the Jersey Devil is real. 16% solidly believe that this creature is real. 18% stated that it's very likely to be true. 58% thought that it's not true at all. And somewhere around 6% or so, give or take a couple of percentage points, stated that it is not, that it is very true. So in either case, those are the links associated with the Jersey Devil and the polls from those residents. Some more fascinating demographics of it state this. Younger folks think it is more likely to be true than older ones. Those that live near the Pine Barrens, those haunted places I was mentioning, are actually less likely to believe it's real than those that live in other parts of the state. And then finally, politics has nothing to do with the belief. Both sides of politics believe whatever it is about the Jersey Devil without it influencing their decisions. So there's no, in other words, percentage skewing more to the left, more to the right, nothing like that. One of the few times when politics basically stays out of the realm. Number 8 is this. It has to do with a mass hysteria that occurred that was so famous that it was known as the 1909 sightings era. So here's what happened. From January 16th to January 23, 1909, hundreds of encounters with the Jersey Devil were reported, not just in one area, but basically all over the state. You imagine that hundreds of people all of a sudden started to see this mythical creature. It created one of the largest panics there, which also included Apparently, the Jersey Devil doing attacks on not just one, but two trolleys. Another encounter that was infamous was some policemen finding the creature and firing upon it, but not being able to kill it right there. Another set of encounters included many footprints that were found in some fresh laden snow and so on. In fact, there was one set of encounters that was in one area there in Delaware Valley. That was a location there called the Delaware Valley that had a number of schools. They got so frightened there that they decided to temporarily close their schools. And not only that, but workers around that location were also told to stay at home, basically out of safety. And if you wanted to see how it got to a huge point with regards to this mass hysteria, at one point, allegedly, I couldn't find any proof on this, but this is just part of an urban legend, the Philadelphia Zoo themselves, Philadelphia Zoo, decided to post a reward, $10,000, to be able to give to anyone who could capture dung. That's right, waste. Or in other words, well, I can't say that word on YouTube, but you get the idea. That they could capture the dung linked to the Jersey Devil creature, and they would be given $10,000 as a reward. I did the calculation. If you did that from 1909, $10,000, that would be about $346,000 today. What a huge reward to be able to have that kind of evidence to give. Nobody was able to get that evidence submitted, so nobody got their award. It's a big shocker there, but that shows the culmination with regards to this panics and mass hysteria of 1909 and the sightings era. Number 9 is this. There are other iterations of the Jersey Devil besides the ones that you've seen here throughout the video. There's the classic design, of course, but apparently the Jersey Devil may actually be a shape-shifting creature. Either that or people are accidentally giving the name of the Jersey Devil to other creatures. But in any case, it's been known to be actually a large dog or a large bird or even hairy humanoids that apparently resemble Bigfoot, or a deer, or of all things, even a cougar. So all those different types of creatures apparently have been linked to the Jersey Devil. So I think it's more along the lines of people accidentally thinking that it's the Jersey Devil, maybe seeing it at night or seeing it from far away, or a combination of both. But either way, though, those are the different iterations. And apparently this has happened again over the past few centuries, ever since the 17th century, whenever it was first sighted. Finally, number 10, with regards to this video, is this. Jersey Devil is so famous, it even has its own days of celebration. Keyword days, meaning plural. Number 1 is the Jersey Devil Day. This is an annual celebration that features storytelling, local crafts, and educational exhibits. Not only that, but the other event is known as the Jersey Devil Festival. This is a 2-day event, not just one, but 2, that you get that showcases short films about the cryptid, some costume contests. That'd be interesting to see, right? Like try to find the best cosplayer linked to the Jersey Devil, storytelling, live music, arts and crafts, and then also, this is really fun, a walking tour. Apparently a walking tour, maybe even combined with little mini hunts to try to find the Jersey Devil around that location. Obviously, nobody has actually found it, considering it happens on an annual basis, and nobody has provided any proof, but that would still make a nice little fun event to be able to go around that area purported to house this creature and then try to find it right then and there. But that's pretty much it. That's all for everything for this video. The top 10 things you didn't know about the Jersey Devil. If I might have missed something important, anyone else has anything to add, then please post those comments below. Let me know too if you want me to make more of these top 10 things you didn't know about video. I'll try to make some more here and there. They kind of take a little bit more work, so that's why they're more spaced out. But if there's interest, I'll be happy to do so. All right, everyone. Thanks again as always. Take care.